Namaste, everyone. Hi. Yesterday evening, I requested you all to go through one particular exercise before finally retiring to bed. That was to develop some level of reverence, love, humility, tenderness in the heart, while offering the prayer, and sleep with that state of mind, state of emotion. Today, I request you to meditate on Atma Chakra. Those who are very new to this practice, because I see almost 5% seated here, are first timers. Simply offer the prayer as per the heartfulness way. If you don't know how to offer this heartfulness way of prayer, you can pick up a booklet from outside. It mentions the words of prayer, practice of meditation, practice of cleaning process, how to, when to, with what attitude, and why. Of all these things are very well described in that book. The title is What is Heartfulness? So please pick up if you like to go in depth in understanding the heartfulness way of practices. Heartfulness way is all about the inner spiritual journey. The yatra is not external, going from one holy place to another holy place. That doesn't make anything out of you. It doesn't transform anyone at all. It is the inner transformation from one chakra of consciousness to another chakra of consciousness. This transformative journey is always internal. We have the theme of this seminar is neither here nor there. I hope you have contemplated over it, and I had also given a brief message on this topic while I was in Europe. If you have not received it, please go through your mails and see if it is still unopened. Kindly go through it, because I'll be speaking on it tomorrow. So the base of what has been spoken about, please go through it. More than anything, more than a practice, it is our attitude that determines the trajectory of our journey, the outcome of our journey. What is expected of our journey is very simple. Love. If this flower of love has not bloomed in your heart, know it for sure you have not progressed. If you are still entertaining the idea of revenge, competition, likes and dislikes, we are still stuck. Rise above all this. And that's what exactly known as transcendence. No amount of practice can free us. All the religions have trapped us, so-called religions, though they have all started with great intentions, dogmatic belief systems. And we have all witnessed, read in the history, how many men, women have been killed, children have been killed under the name of religion. It's time that we move on beyond religion. And what is beyond religion? Experience. Religion teaches us from very early childhood that there is something like God. Believe in God, which is good. But until we die, this knowledge remains without being actualized. And that is the problem with religion. Actualization, the realization is missing. There are monotheistics and there are polytheism. Hinduism perhaps is the only one which is polytheistic. Why? Polytheism believes in multiple powers of nature. The earlier sages and rishis of Vedic times, Upanishadic times, they worshipped anything and everything because they could perceive divinity in everything. They perceived it in the stars, in the sky, the mountains, the flowers, in the birds. Wherever they saw this, they felt divinity. So they worshipped everything. The belief continues even today. We do worship everything today also. Only difference is they felt, they perceived and meditated, worshipped. We worship without perception. That is the tragedy of Hinduism. Rituals have remained without the soul in it. That's why the questions arise. Children don't believe, though out of discipline, out of obedience, they will do everything we recommend. But the true conviction comes only when there is a heartfelt experience of divinity. And that's all about spirituality. Religion can never make one understand spirituality. Religion, with its own belief system, ties us, imprisons us, that God is like this, God is not like that. That is religious imprisonment. I would say atheists are a lot more honest. Those who don't believe in God, they are quite honest. Why? I'm not experienced, so how can I believe? They're very honest. But people who believe in God, they believe because I have said this early morning also during my TV interview with two Telugu channels. I was sharing with them a story from my childhood, dialogue with mother. Ma, do you believe in God? Ma was surprised. Why are you asking such a question? And then you insist, Ma, do you really believe in God? She said, yes, I believe in God. Why? Then she gently answers, my mother taught me. My mother asked me to believe. Our holy scriptures talks about, our dharmas talks about it, so we believe. But Ma, what about you? She smiles and goes on to her own work, no answers. Today also, most of us do believe. Where is the backing of experience? And any knowledge without the backing of experience is empty, hollow knowledge. It's useless knowledge. It's just a burden. Imagine you're a doctor and you don't know why you do what you do. Who will come to you as patients? Perhaps you might kill some of them. Few minutes back, I had an interesting interaction with one gentleman, Malik Arjun. It's just not the right name though. He's saying, I visit Balaji, who is everywhere. Why do you have to go visit Balaji when he's everywhere? Logical question, no? Coincidentally, I also met just a minute later one gentleman from Tirupati. He says, I am from the holy place. I say, crocodiles also lived in Ganges. Only difference is crocodiles don't have awareness that they are so in the so-called purity. You may be living and rubbing the shoulders with Lord Krishna himself, but his divinity may never touch you. You may even never have the fragrance of his divinity perceived with your ignorant minds. How many, can you tell me, those who have read Mahabharata can understand divinity of others affected by the divinity of Lord Krishna? Hardly anyone. Even when he showed his Vishwaroop, the cosmic form, to his best friend, he was begging him, please return back to the friendlier form. So he was also deprived in a way because he could not fathom that cosmic form. Even with the real form, divinity could not touch anyone. How are you ever going to fathom the true divinity by worshipping the fake forms, images? If at all, you'll feel some level of satisfaction of having done something. And we all, be it Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, doesn't matter. We all worship because temptation and fear. My great master, Babaji Maharaj, he said religion uses only two weapons. Either you do this to go to heaven, or avoid this to avoid the hell. These are the two things. But spirituality is something else. Spirituality is love for the sake of love. We meditate with a prayerful heart on divine presence, on divine light, without assuming any form. We have this prayerful attitude during the meditation that, Lord, I don't even know whether you are there or not there, but I like to experience your presence. And where can I experience the presence of the Lord? Within me, within myself. That's why in Sanskrit, the definition of the ultimate is also somehow summarized in one term, Antaryamin, one who dwells within myself. So the search for that entity should be within. But see, where is our direction? Our direction is outward. Wrong direction. You want to go to Washington, D.C., but your point is toward Los Angeles. How will you reach D.C.? Impossible. Meditation with absolute innocence. Lord, I don't even know you are there or not, but I'm ready to experience your presence. No conditions, no preconceptions. To all those who are having a Hindu background here, I like them to ask question. Have you seen Lord Shiva? At least in images, in statues. How do we imagine him? Seated on Mount Kailash, isn't it? And doing what? Say it. Meditation. Now the question is, God himself, why does he need to meditate? What is he looking for? What is lacking in him? Upon whom is he meditating? Think over it. And if he needs to meditate, what about we, mere human? Lord Krishna, before Mahabharata, he sits comfortably and meditates. That pose is called Yoga Purusha. Imagine that pose. He is also meditating. On whom? Krishna avatar, meditating. On whose essence is he meditating? Divinity, meditating on divinity looks blasphemous. Same thing in Ramayana. As a child, it's very interesting. We used to flip to the pages of Ramayana. Children, we could not read it because it's too complex. Didn't even learn alphabet those days, but it was fun flipping the pages and seeing the photographs. And the most attractive was, when these gang of four, Rama, Lakshman, Mother Sita, and Hanuman, seated with their closed eyes. And I used to wonder, what are they doing? All of them with closed eyes under the tree, meditating. Meditation also, I think, some clarification on meditation is needed. Meditation generally described or understood as a focused mind, or mind that goes to a state of concentration. Personally speaking, after experiencing meditative states, focusing the mind or single pointedness of the mind is nothing but violence to your consciousness. Just as you take a sleeping pill and it's like hitting your head with a hammer and knocks you out. The natural sleep versus pills-induced sleep or anesthesia-induced state of unconsciousness, they're different. Natural sleep gives you so much of joy when you wake up. Having been sedated with pills, it still creates some lingering heaviness after you wake up. Trying to heavily focus your mind and sit like this, concentrating on the heart, will give you a headache. Let go of it. If you try too hard to sleep at night, and you make your mind say, oh, as soon as I hit the bed, hit the pillow, I want to sleep. More you try, more your sleep will run away from you. Let go and she comes. It descends on its own. Meditation in Sanskrit is dhyan. Dhyana has a different meaning. Dhyan means to transcend the mind itself. Transcending the mind means transcending the very function of the mind. And what is the function of the mind? To think, to intellectualize. During dhyan, when we transcend thinking, what becomes of thinking then? Now you're entering the zone of perception, feelings. Instead of intellect, you become intuitive during meditation. Day after day, when we have this habit of going into the deeper depths of our being, we become more perceptive and more intuitive. As a result, what happens? Again, understanding this word dhyan from Sanskrit, you divide this word dhi and yan. All of you must have heard Gayatri Sloka. Om Bhurva Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. What is the meaning of Dhi here? Ultimate wisdom. So Dhi in Dhyana, Dhi stands for the ultimate wisdom. And Yana means a vehicle. Either the process or the vehicle that takes me to that ultimate wisdom is dhyan, is meditation. But what do we generally end up doing under the misguidance of so-called gurus? They give you mantra, they give you japam, and keeps your mind busy. You keep on rolling your beads, counting them. How many did I count? Oh, I forgot how many I counted. And there goes your meditation. See, I forgot to count, and you're worried about counting the beads. How many times? Oh, my guru told me to do 101 times this japam. And you keep counting, your mind is busy. So, how do you call this busy mind a meditative mind? But when I talk like this, people do often get offended. They say, oh, I'm going against the religious dictums. You're only fooling yourself. Another very important aspect of heartfulness way of practice is cleaning. Cleaning what? Cleaning of impressions. So we have to understand how do we create impressions that needs to be cleaned. So all these things are mentioned in detail in that book. Please try and understand why we do what we do, not just out of rituals, and offer a prayer with a supplicant, humble heart, not asking for anything, but being grateful for all that we have. One of the lines in that prayer, we are yet but slaves of wishes, means desires. And that's the only thing that comes in the way of myself and the Lord. Desires by nature are unfulfillable. As soon as I came to Atlanta, I was mesmerized by its beauty. Earlier too, I used to come to Atlanta, but our journey was, from the airport to Molina Ashram, and sometimes we were around malls, come back to Molina Ashram, to the airport and back to New York. We never saw this greenery. It was thrilled and enjoyed the greenery of Atlanta, and especially houses. My host has one of the beautiful houses I have seen. But then 2-3 days later, when we were invited at Sakti Mandir and one of the trustee invited to visit his home, I say, my God, this surpasses the previous one. Then later on, I was invited to have a recording with Brandy Harvey. You must have heard, Steve Harvey, his daughter. And I thought it must be a studio, but that his residence, Steve Harvey's residence, was converted into studio. And I say, my Lord, this surpasses even the previous one. And then I was invited to Greenville, one of the hoteliers, Mr. Rana, and his palatial house, my God. I was wondering, does such palaces exist on this earth? Oh, So after that, I gave up. Be happy where you are. So desires by nature, they are unfulfillable. Whether you have the desires of fulfillment here, because most materialistic people, they want to make this life most comfortable, and there is nothing wrong with it. If you have it, enjoy it. But don't crazy for it. Don't go crazy for it. Religious people, they lead an ascetic life in order to have beautiful life in heaven. Right? Everything they want there, they want to avoid it here. They fast here to have good sweets there. They become celibate here to have multiple wives up there. I mean, same thing, I don't know. And this is all in the imaginations of Shastras and holy scriptures written by men. Have you seen heaven with many handsome men for women? No woman has written such Shastras. It's only in the fantasy world of a man they have created such heavens. Actually, heavens and hells are metaphors, psychological states of our being. When you follow the divine dictums, divine principles, that brings joy in your heart. When you are pure and simple in your heart, divinity descends and you become heavenly. You become the temple of God. To become that simple and pure, we advocate this process of cleaning. So increasingly, to the extent we can tolerate our own purity, to that extent, we become purer. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And finally, I would ask Mallikarjun ji one question. You are a worshipper of Balaji, and this question applies to everyone. Doesn't matter whether you are a Durga Bhakt or a Balaji Bhakt or a Jesus Bhakt or a Krishna Bhakt, it hardly matters. What if Lord Jesus comes up and tells you, my son, I would like to spend 1 year with you. Hang around with you. Balaji says to Mallikarjun, just give me 1 week with you. After 1 week, Mallikarjun said, please God, go back where you came from. Say, you are not letting me do anything. Because that Balaji doesn't have to come and go. He's all the time within us. He's Antaryamin. Divinity is within us. Listen to that feeble, tender voice of the heart. Then you don't need any guru. Guru is within you. Namaskar.
This is from the California State Senate. It says, in recognition and appreciation for Kamlesh D. Patel Daaji as an ambassador of love and compassion, providing service to professionals, education institutions, care providers, and the community at large. Under your leadership as the global guide of the Heartfulness Institute, your organization continues to serve humanity and improve quality of life for millions of and California Legislative State Assembly recognizes for his dedicated efforts with the Heartfulness Institute, which helps members of our community access mental health wellness tools, training, and practice to reduce stress. Thank you. From Honorable Congressman Kanha, in recognition of the dedication and service demonstrated through your organization, Heartfulness Institute, having changed the lives of many all over.